Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a really fascinating career, dig into the sources, and try to figure out how someone pulled off a major transformation. And today, we're looking at Mary Rose Byrne, the Australian actress whose path is just, well, it's a masterclass in defying expectations, really.
It really is. And it's funny because if you mostly know Rose Byrne from, say, the last 10, 15 years,
Yeah?
the comedies, Bridesmaids, Spy.
Oh, yeah, she's hilarious in those.
Totally. But you'd be missing this whole other foundation. Our sources show an actor who didn't just, drift into comedy. She actively went for it,
Right.
strategically.
Exactly. That's our mission for this deep dive.
Yeah.
How did she go from winning prestigious international awards for heavy drama right at the start
Like the Volpi Cup.
to anchoring this intense legal thriller, Damages, for years, and then make this conscious pivot, almost a hard right turn, into being a go-to comedic star? And crucially, how did she keep doing high-quality, serious work alongside all that?
It's a fantastic story of constant reinvention and just sheer longevity when you think about it. We've got sources covering her life, career from 94 onwards, the awards Volpi Cup, Silver Bear in Berlin, more recently AACTAs, those Emmy and Globe nods for Damages. It's all there.
So for you listening, the hook is really understanding the thinking behind that genre hopping. How do you get Emmy nominations for playing a super serious lawyer, get locked into that image, and then turn up stealing scenes in something like Bridesmaids? It took guts, didn't it? Real ambition.
Definitely. And self-awareness, too, I think.
Yeah.
Let's kick things off back in Australia. Sydney, right? Hashtag check one. The Australian Roots and Dramatic Beginnings, 1994-2006. Okay, so she was born Mary Rose Byrne, July 24th, 1979, in Balmain, Sydney. Youngest of four, Irish and Scottish background. Sound like a pretty stable, close-knit family setup.
But what's interesting is the philosophical vibe. Her mom was an atheist, apparently, and Rose and her dad identified as agnostic.
Right. That's kind of unusual for the time, maybe. It suggests a certain independence of thought from early on.
Yeah, I think that's key. It maybe set her up to forge her own path later, not just follow the expected routes, like when she decided she wasn't going to be boxed in.
Good point. And her acting start seems very, organic. Her sister encouraged her. She started young, age 8, at the Australian Theatre for Young People, went through the usual public schools in Sydney.
Building that foundation.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker, the bit that really surprised me, considering her later success.
The drama school auditions.
Yeah, she auditioned for the big ones in Australia, Beepian, Wapa, and the really prestigious one, in NIDA.
NIDA's like the Rodier or Juilliard of Australia, basically. Huge deal.
And she didn't get into any of them. Rejected across the board. You think that might be, a career ender for someone wanting to be a serious actor in Australia?
Absolutely. That could knock your confidence completely. But she didn't stop.
Nope. She pivots. Studies an arts degree at Sydney Uni instead. And then, this is smart, she looks internationally. Goes to study in New York in '99 at the Atlantic Theatre Company.
Which has serious pedigree, right? David Mamet, William H. Macy. That's proper acting training. She found another way in, bypassing the traditional Aussie gatekeepers who'd shut her out.
While all this is happening, her screen career is already, ticking along. She debuted really young, 15, in a film called Dallas Doll back in '94.
Right, and then did the rounds on Australian TV, Echo Point Wildside. Got a decent role opposite Heath Ledger, actually, in Two Hands in 1999. So she was working, building credits.
But then 2000 hits, and this is the moment that I think changes everything. Her first lead role in an art house film called The Goddess of 1967.
And bang, she wins the Volpi Cup for Best Actress at the Venice Film Festival.
Let's just sit with that for a second. The Volpi Cup, that's not some minor festival award. It's huge. Puts you on the global map as a serious dramatic talent at age 21.
Monumental. It gave her this undeniable artistic credibility way before Hollywood really knew what to do with her. A foundation of pure dramatic weight.
So you'd expect maybe a surge of confidence, right? Winning this massive award.
Yeah. You would think. But the sources show something totally different. She apparently found watching the film really confronting.
Yeah, and she actually said, I'm convinced I can't act and I want to get out. That's how insecure I am.
Isn't that incredible? At the absolute peak moment of validation, she's riddled with self-doubt.
It really explains a lot about her drive later, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It suggests she wasn't resting on her laurels, ever. Maybe that insecurity was the fuel, pushing her to keep proving herself, try new things.
Could be. Always needing the next challenge because you never quite feel like you've made it. Paradoxical, but maybe that's the engine.
So that ambition definitely helped her start getting supporting roles in Hollywood in the early 2000s. He was still doing serious stage work, too, like Chekhov and Sydney.
And then came the small but, noticeable part in Star Wars, Episode 2 in 2002, as Dorme, Padme's handmaiden.
A foot in the door of the blockbuster world.
Exactly. And then bigger stuff followed. I Capture the Castle in 2003, and then the massive epic Troy in 2004 with Brad Pitt. She played Versailles.
Variety wasn't totally convinced by the role itself. Called it a convenient invention, I think.
Yeah, the writing maybe wasn't the focus, but being in a huge production like that, it's invaluable experience, and people were noticing her talent, even in supporting parts.
Definitely. The director of Wicker Park, Paul McGuigan, supposedly said she was the best actress he'd worked with.
And Peter O'Toole, her co-star in Troy, he called her beautiful, uncomplicated, simple, pure actress, high praise from a legend.
So by about 2006, she's got this dual validation. The high art world via Venice, and respect from major industry players in Hollywood. The stage was definitely set.
Yeah, for the big international breakthrough. And 2007 really feels like the year things shifted up a gear. She went from being that respected supporting player to a really significant presence, especially in genre films.
Right. She landed major roles in 2 big sci-fi/thriller type movies that year.
First up was Danny Boyle's Sunshine. Psychological sci-fi, pretty intense. She played the pilot alongside Cillian Murphy and Chris Evans. Required real dramatic precision, I'd imagine.
And straight after that, 28 weeks later, the sequel to 28 Days Later, she's the Army medical officer.
And that one was a proper hit. Made over $64 million worldwide. So these roles really cemented her as someone who could handle that intense, high-stakes genre material, carry a big film.
But the role that truly defined her image for, 5 solid years? And probably set up the need for that pivot we talked about.
Has to be Damaged as Ellen Parsons.
Absolutely. FX legal thriller ran from 2007 to 2012.
And talk about prestige TV. It was The Show. Her opposite Glenn Close playing Patty Hughes, that dynamic, wow.
So intense. It was all about that really complex, often toxic mentor-mentee relationship. Ellen Parsons went through the ringer for 5 seasons. Paranoia, manipulation, backstabbing. The work.
It was a massive commitment. She was in every single episode, all 59 of them. And the industry definitely noticed.
Oh, yeah. Emmy nominations 2 years running, 2009 and 2010. Outstanding supporting actress, plus 2 Golden Globe nominations.
So this period, 2007 to 2012, really locks her in. She is Ellen Parsons. She is a serious, top-tier dramatic actress in Hollywood's eyes.
This is the crucial turning point in the deep dive, right? She's got the nominations, the respect, this very clear, very bankable, dramatic box.
And what does she do? The actor who felt she couldn't act, who got rejected by Anita?
She pulls the emergency brake. Professionally speaking, after Damages hits big, she goes to her agents and says, basically, only send me comedies.
It sounds crazy, doesn't it? But she explained later she needed a break from the heavy stuff. Said being boxed in felt insufferable.
It wasn't just about wanting an easier time, it seems. It was like a creative imperative to disrupt things, using the leverage from her dramatic success to force open a different door.
Which was a massive risk. People might have thought, what is she doing, throwing away her Emmy buzz?
Totally. But she stuck to her guns. And it paid off. Her big comedy splash was playing that wild pop star Jackie Q in Get Him to the Greek in 2010.
And the story from that audition is gold. The director, Nicholas Stoller, was apparently surprised she even showed up. Like, isn't she too serious for this?
Yeah. But then she just destroyed the audition. He compared her to someone from Saturday Night Live. Fearless, manic energy. She didn't just try comedy. She went all in.
Oh, and the film did well, made decent money, proved she could work in that space. But 2011, that was the year everything changed, the year she became this genre-bending force.
Oh, 2011 was insane for her, just looking at the range.
Totally. 3 massive, completely different films landed. First, horror, Insidious.
Directed by James Wan. She's the lead. Renée Lambert. And the budget was tiny, right? Like $1.5 million?
Yeah, micro budget. But it grossed almost $100 million worldwide. Huge hit. Launched a whole franchise she's still part of, popping up in sequels as recently as 2023. Proved she could anchor profitable horror.
Okay, so that's horror box ticked. Then the big one for comedy. The game changer. Bridesmaids. Playing Helen Harris III. The perfect, wealthy, slightly terrifying rival to Kristen Wiig.
And that movie wasn't just a hit, it was a phenomenon. Made almost $300 million. But it was her performance, her type of comedy in it that people really talked about.
Exactly. That high-status character who thinks they're above it all and watching them unravel is just gold. She got an MTV Movie Award for it, shared with the cast. Best gut-wrenching performance, which is perfect for Bridesmaids.
So horror franchise launched, comedy persona redefined. What else? Oh, yeah, just casually stepping into a massive superhero blockbuster.
Right, X-Men. First Class,
Mhm.
playing CIA agent Moira McTaggart. She called her feisty and ambitious.
And another huge box office success. Over 350 million worldwide.
So just pause and think about that year, 2011. She's starring in a smash-hit horror film, helping redefine R-rated comedy for women and grabbing a key role in a global superhero franchise.
All while she's still playing the serious Emmy-nominated lawyer on Damages.
The pivot was complete. She'd done it. Used that dramatic seriousness, that perfect deadpan delivery, and turned it into comedic genius. Incredible timing. #tag3. Comedy, franchises, and producing roles, 2013 present.
Yeah, so by 2013, the perception had totally shifted. She wasn't really seen as a dramatic actress trying comedy anymore. She was a comedian. She did that British rom-com, I Give It a Year.
Right. And the reviews were interesting then. Like, The Hollywood Reporter maybe wasn't sure about her chemistry with the co-star.
But Variety was all about her, calling her an ace comedian suited to Screwhall. The focus was purely on her comedic skill by then.
And then came the role that really cemented that status, I think. The Neighbors films.
Oh yeah, Neighbors with Seth Rogen and Zac Efron, 2014, then the sequel in 2016. She played Kelly Radner, the wife and mom.
But crucially, not just the boring, stereotypical mom role, right?
Right.
Critics really pointed out how she elevated it.
Exactly. She wasn't just the fun police. The Atlantic said she walks away with the film because her character was just as invested in the crazy rivalry, just as flawed and funny as the guys. Complex.
That's a hallmark of her comedy, isn't it? She finds the nuance, the intelligence in it, and Neighbors was massive. First one made, what, 270 million?
Huge hit. Then she followed it up with, for my money, maybe her peak comedy performance. Raina Boyanoff in Spy.
Oh, Spy was brilliant. Reunited with Melissa McCarthy from Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
And Byrne as Raina, the villain. Merciless, hilarious, unbelievably high status.
She just steals every scene she's in. Decider even ran an article basically asking, how did Rose Byrne get so good at comedy? They singled out her scenes with McCarthy, that icy delivery. It was perfect.
So she's dominating comedy. But she didn't just, like, abandon everything else.
Not at all. She kept the portfolio diverse, did Neighbors 2, came back for X-Men, Apocalypse in 2016, kept popping up in the Insidious movies.
And jumped into family films, too. Peter Rabbit.
Right. Voiced Jemima Puddle Duck, played Bee in the live-action parts, both in the first one in 2018 and the sequel in 2021. And the first Peter Rabbit made a ton of money, like $350 million worldwide.
That's smart career building.
Yeah.
Covering all bases. Drama, comedy, horror, superheroes, family, longevity.
And she absolutely kept the serious drama muscle flexed. In 2020, she slips right back into it, playing Gloria Steinem in Mrs. America.
Which required a completely different energy, didn't it? Nuanced, historical, serious, and she nailed it. Shows she could switch back from playing a cartoonish villain like Raina to an icon like Steinem instantly.
Totally. But the most recent phase, say from 2021 onwards, seems defined by something else again. Taking control. Moving into producing.
Yeah, leading and executive producing her own shows, like Physical on Apple TV+, that dark comedy about aerobics.
It ran for 3 seasons, yeah. And now Platonic, also on Apple TV, plus Rana, which reunites her with Seth Rogen. She's an EP on that, too.
This feels like the natural conclusion to that whole don't box me in philosophy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you want creative control, if you want to shape the narrative, well, you become the boss.
Exactly. She's listed as EP on an upcoming film, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, and a producer on another called Toe. She's not just waiting for roles anymore. She's creating the work, shaping her own future.
It's really impressive. And she's still doing other stuff like voice work, popped up in Bluey.
Huh, yeah. Voiced Brandy Cattle in a couple of episodes. And Leatherhead in the recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. She's just everywhere, across all kinds of media, #tag4, critical recognition and professional drive. So if we kind of zoom out now and look at the whole arc, particularly the major awards, it's pretty stunning. There are these 2 huge dramatic acting awards bookending her career 25 years apart.
Right. We talked about the early one, the Volpi Cup from Venice in 2000 for The Goddess of 1967. Massive validation from the international art house scene. She's a serious actor with a capital A.
Okay, now fast forward a quarter of a century. Just recently, in 2025, she wins the Silver Bear for Best Leading Performance at the Berlin Film Festival.
For that upcoming film, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, playing a troubled mother.
Think about that. Venice and Berlin, those are peer awards right up there, usually for really challenging, serious performances. To win both, 25 years apart.
While in the middle, she completely reinvented herself as a major Hollywood comedy star, got Emmy and Golden Globe nominations for Damages. It's incredible range and consistency. Plus, she won an AACPA back in 2014 for The Turning. She never let go of the serious drama.
No, the commercial success never seemed to dilute that artistic drive, and a lot of that seems down to sheer professional determination. Remember how she proactively told her agents to find her comedies?
Yeah, that wasn't passive. That was an aggressive career move. Taking control because she hated feeling restricted, feeling like she might stagnate in that successful drama box she'd built.
And she seems to have learned from the best. She mentioned watching Glenn Close on the set of Damages, calling her the hardest worker, and realizing the importance of being proactive, pushing for what you want.
You don't get to that level without that kind of drive. And that proactivity directly led to the shift in how she was seen. Before the pivot, respected dramatic actor. After.
The Hollywood Reporter literally called her the most in-demand supporting actress for comedies. She even leveraged her image doing those campaigns for Max Factor and Oraton. Maintained that sort of chic, high-status vibe, which actually played perfectly into her deadpan comedy.
That drive shows up in her personal collaborations too, doesn't it? With her partner, Bobby Cannavale. They've been together since 2012, have 2 kids.
Born in 2016 and 2017. And their creative partnership often leans into challenging stuff. Like in 2020, they did Medea together on stage in Brooklyn.
Medea. I mean, that's about as intense and tragic as drama gets. Doing that while juggling blockbusters and family life, it shows a real hunger for complex work.
It keeps coming back to that, doesn't it? Maybe linked to that insecurity she talked about way back after Venice. She admitted even in 2013, there's always an element of uncertainty being a freelancer.
So maybe that uncertainty is the engine. It keeps her hungry, stops her from ever getting complacent, pushes her towards the next reinvention, whether it's a new genre or stepping behind the camera.
Could well be. Never quite feeling secure means you never stop striving. And she seems committed to helping others navigate that too. Supporting UNICEF Australia, being an ambassador for NISA's Young Actors Studio.
The same Dee that rejected her all those years ago, that's a nice full circle moment. Using her success to mentor the next generation there.
It really is. It's such a consistent story when you lay it all out. Rejected by the system, proves herself on the world stage, uses that clout to conquer a totally different field, then leverages that success to become a creator herself. Hashtag outro.
What a journey. It really has been a deep dive into professional agency, hasn't it? We've traced her path from that young actor initially shut out by the Australian drama schools, but winning the Volpi Cup anyway.
It's right at the start.
Through anchoring Damages, becoming this major dramatic TV star, and then that very conscious, very deliberate pushback against being boxed in.
Yeah, that pivot to comedy was the key public shift. Proving she could kill it and get him to the Greek and especially Bridesmaids, that really changed everything for her image.
But critically, like you said, those bookends, the Volpi Cup in 2000, the Silver Bear in 2025, prove she never stopped being a powerhouse dramatic actor underneath it all. She maintained that core skill across 25 years.
She absolutely didn't just stumble into comedy. She strategically fought for that space, maybe because she knew instinctively that variety was key to staying engaged, avoiding that stagnation she felt. She just refused to be defined by one thing.
It's the sheer range that's staggering when you look back. Tiny Aussie art films, global horror hits, massive superhero movies, prestige TV, blockbuster comedies, family films, serious stage work.
She mastered them all. It really shows that if you have the talent, the work ethic, and that strategic vision to push against expectations, you can carve out an incredibly unique and lasting career.
It certainly does. We've seen how she dominated genres by actively choosing roles that challenged her and really challenged audience expectations too. So, as you finish listening, maybe think about this. What does it mean in your own life or work to push back when you feel boxed in by expectations or past successes? Who out there right now might be in the middle of their own strategic pivot, redefining their trajectory just like Rose Byrne did? Something to chew on.